students, this is Harpreet Kaur from English Frog Club, your teacher and guide. Today, I've come up with a lesson for class 9 studying NCERT books. And today, I'm going to do the lesson 2, part 2, the Shehnai of Bismillah Khan of the chapter, The Sounds of Music. So, are you ready to learn English textbooks with me? So, why to wait? Let's proceed. Look at the pictures given on this page that is displayed in front of you. We can see some musicians playing some musical instruments, and they are quite well known musicians of India. Now let's read what this chapter has for us. So I'm going to read here the first paragraph from the chapter. Emperor Aurangzeb banned the playing of a musical instrument called pungi in the royal residence, for it had a shrill, unpleasant sound. Pungi became the generic name for reeded noisemakers. So, here the author says that the Emperor Aurangzeb, the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb, had banned a musical instrument whose name was pungi. And why he had banned it? Because of its shrill, unpleasant sound. It was not good to hear, and when pungi was being played, and the sound that was quite irritating. So the generic name, it is a name given to a class or a group as a whole. Okay, that is the meaning of generic name. And so the sounds that is reeded means wind instruments. Which have reeds like the flute, clarinet, etc. Okay, any kind of musical instrument that has holes in it and it has a pipe, etc. So that instruments are called reeded instruments. Okay. Few had thought that it would one day be revived. A barber of a family of professional musicians who had access to the royal palace decided to improve the tonal quality of pungi. So there was a small child from the family of barbers, but who were professional musicians. So this child got quite interested in that pungi, and he just thought that everybody doesn't like this pungi, so let me do something to improve the tone and so that the sound can be pleasant one. So let me try on my hands on it. So he did, then he started exploring the things. Let's see what he explores. He chose a pipe with a natural hollow stem that was longer and broader than the pungi, and made 7 holes on the body of the pipe. When he played on it, closing and opening some of the holes, soft and melodious sounds were produced. So in his experiment, he just took a long piece of pipe that was hollow, and he just did 7 holes in it, and when he blew it, and by putting his fingers and by closing and opening the holes, the beautiful sounds were being created. And the child was very happy that something new, he has just developed something new. He was quite happy for that. He played the instrument before royalty. So then after practicing it a lot, then he played in front of the people in the court, in the royal people in the court, and everyone was impressed. The instrument, so different from pungi, had to be given a new name. So actually this instrument was quite different from pungi. You can well see in the pictures that are depicted here on this page. On the left side we have the picture of pungi, and on the right side we have the picture of shehnai. So the middle portion, that was a circular portion, that is being taken away, and one single pipe was produce and it is one single pipe only. And as this instrument was quite new, so obviously some name has to be given. So everybody started thinking in the royal court, everyone started thinking what shall be the name given to this. So they decided on a name that was as the story goes on, according to one of the story, since it was first played by a Shah. Okay, first played in the Shah's chamber and was played by a Nai. Nai is a Hindi word for barber. The instrument was named Shehnai. So that is the combination of two words, Shah and Nai. So it became Shehnai. So this way that this musical instrument was Christianized to be Shehnai. So here we are on the second paragraph. The sound of Shehnai began to be considered auspicious, and for this reason it is still played in temples and is an indispensable component of any North India wedding. So after that, this instrument became so popular that it had become auspicious. Auspicious is, it is something sacred, holy, so that it was an indispensable, no ceremony, no holy thing could be performed without the playing of this musical instrument, that was Shehnai, and it had become a very inseparable, indispensable or inseparable part of any North Indian wedding, that was performed in North India. Okay, so let's see further. In the past, the Shehnai was part of Naubat or traditional ensemble of 9 instruments found at royal courts. Till recently, it was used only in temples and weddings. The credit for bringing this instrument onto the classical stage goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan. So he said, before Ustad Bismillah Khan entered in playing of Shehnai, this musical instrument had a very limited viewers or limited places where it was being played. It was played on temples, weddings, and at that place only. Okay. As now we are going to read the third paragraph. So let's move to the third paragraph and see what the third paragraph tells us about this wonderful melodious instrument named Shehnai. Okay, so let's dive deeper into the story of Ustad Bismillah Khan. Okay, let's see. As a 5-year-old, Bismillah Khan played Gilli Danda near a pond in the ancient state of Dumaron in Bihar. He would regularly go to the nearby Bihariji temple to sing the Bhojpuri Chaita, at the end of which he would earn a big laddu weighing 1.25 kg, a prize given for the local Maharaja. This happened 80 years ago. So when 80 years ago, Bismillah Khan was just a 5-year-old child, he was fascinated to go to temple, and regularly he used to sing a Bhojpuri kind of religious religious hymn that was sung at the temple. And because he was doing this for the sake of that prize, that was a big, huge laddu of 1.25 kg, and that was a great thing for a 5-year-old child. And how could he miss it? So he used to go regularly to temple to sing that chaita. Okay, so then the little boy had travelled far to earn the highest civilian award in India, the Bharat Ratna. So from that 5-year-old child, and now he had travelled so long, he had worked so hard that he is a recipient of the Bharat Ratna award, which is the highest civilian award, highest award that is presented to some civil. Now let's go deep. Let's see further about the life story of Ustad Bismillah Khan. Born on 21 March 1916, Bismillah belongs to a well-known family of musicians from Bihar. So he was one of the well-known families from Bihar, born in 1916. Okay. His grandfather, Rasool Bakhsh Khan, was the Shehnai Nawaz of the Bhojpur King's Court. His father, Paigambar Baksh and the other paternal ancestors were great Shehnai players also. A little ancestral history is given in this paragraph, what his father used to be, what his uncle used to be, and what other maternal and other people used to play. Many of the as elders and ancestors in the family were Shehnai players. So naturally he had an inclination towards Shehnai. Let's see what this biographical chapter has in it about Bismillah Khan for us to read. Let's explore. So here we are at the 5th paragraph of the chapter of the biographical chapter of Ustad Bismillah Khan. So let's read. The young boy took the music early in life. At an age of 3, when his mother took him to his maternal uncle's house. The young boy took to music early in his life. That means took to music stands for that he started music. Okay, when he was very young, so at that time he started learning music, started playing at the musical instrument. He was just a child when he started doing all these things. At an age of 3, see what tender age it is. It is just 3 years old. When his mother took him to his maternal uncle's house in Banaras, now called Varanasi. Bismillah was fascinated watching his uncle practice the Shehnai. So when he was 3 years old, his mother took him to his maternal uncle's house, and there he used to watch his maternal uncle playing at the Shehnai, and he was very fascinated. He used to look at his uncle like this for continuously. He never got tired. So this was the fascination of the child, and he was so involved in music at that time. Soon Bismillah started accompanying his uncle Ali Baksh. So what was the name of his uncle? Ali Baksh. To the Vishnu temple. Ali Baksh used to go to Vishnu temple of Banaras, where he was employed to play Shehnai. So he was a employee at the Vishnu temple and playing Shehnai. Ali Baksh would play the Shehnai, and Bismillah would sit captivated, that is spellbound. He used to sit spellbound. He never moved, okay, and continuously he used to sit for a longer time. Ali Baksh would play at the Shehnai, and Bismillah would sit captivated for hours on end. Slowly he started getting lessons in playing the instrument and would sit practicing throughout the day. Slowly he started getting lessons in playing the instrument and would sit practicing throughout the day. He was laborious and hard worker. As a child also, he used to sit for longer time to practice Shehnai. For years to come, the temple of Balaji and Mangla Maya and the banks of Ganga became the young apprentice's favorite haunts, where he could practice in solitude. So for many years he practiced there. If you want to look for Bismillah Khan, these were 3 places where he could be found, and whenever you will go that place, he was found busy in practicing Shehnai, and he loved to practice Shehnai in the solitude at these places. The flowing water of the Ganga inspired him to improve and invent ragas that were earlier considered to be beyond the range of Shehnai. Earlier, all the Shehnai players considered that rags could not be, the Hindi rags, musical rags could not be played on Shehnai. But Bismillah Khan kept on practicing and finding the methods and ways how rags can be played on Shehnai. Before I end with the part 1 of the explanation of the chapter, The Shehnai of Bismillah Khan, I have a task for you. I want you to think of 2 qualities of Bismillah Khan and write a sentence using both the qualities in the comment box. Let's see what qualities you can find out on the basis of the reading of this chapter. Keep watching my videos and don't forget to share them. Bye for now. See you in the next video.